My name's Corey Conant. I work for Solar City. I've been with Solar City for almost 2 years now. I really enjoy my job. It is a great opportunity to get to meet people locally. I live in the area and I'm helping people take advantage of solar, which I believe in and I have on my house too. I have a wife and 2 kids and very much enjoy this area and happy to give back by helping people understand and learn about this opportunity and how important it is for our environment here. So here we are at the inverter right here. We're going to be turning the system on today. Yay, go solar. It's very easy. There's an automatic disconnect switch down here that has to be on the house in order for the utility company or a fire department to have quick access to turning the system off. So we're going to turn that on. And next we're going to turn the inverter on. And this is kind of a good segue into talking about how solar works. The panels themselves collect the sun's energy and turn that power into direct current power for a home. The inverter on the side of the home is converting that DC power to alternating current for a home, which many of your appliances in your home actually use. So direct current would actually blow your appliances out, so that's why you need the inverter. So we're going to go ahead and turn the inverter on and let it cycle on, and it takes a little while to cycle on, and we'll come back and check it in a few minutes. So I'm just going to give a general kind of overview of how solar works, and as you can see by the panels behind us here, we've got a nice sunny day. It's beautiful. You don't actually need a perfectly bluebird sunny day in order for your panels to generate power. Just like you can get a sunburn on a cloudy day, you can generate power using indirect sunlight with your panels, which is great. So, but the panels are on the roof of the house. You're collecting that solar energy and you're using that power in your home first, and that's really important. You're using that power in your home. Instead of drawing the power from the lines, you're drawing the power from the solar panels. During the day, it's likely that you're going to be producing more power than what you're using at that moment, and you're putting power onto the lines, which is then going to go out to all of your neighbors. So not only are you providing yourself with green energy, you're providing your neighbors with green energy. One of the most common questions that I run into is, how much does solar cost? There are different options available of how you can get involved and get solar on your house. The easiest option and the most cost-effective option is going to be the no money down leasing options that are available. Solar City has our leasing and power purchase agreement options, just as other companies do out there. But there is also the purchase side of being able to get into solar, where there's money down, you're paying more money out of pocket. There's tax credits available, and you can take advantage of being able to pay off your system using those tax credits. Versus a lease, there's no money down. The tax credits will go to the company that is providing you with the lease, and rather than spending any money, you just start saving money right off the bat, and it's very easy. Every home is going to be different, so not every home is going to have the same amount of solar production. You're not going to have necessarily as much offset of your power as your neighbor is. Everybody uses different amount of power, and everybody has a different angle and pitch of their roof. So every home is going to be a little bit different, and that's why it's not always apples to apples when comparing your system or your option or your payments to your neighbors, and that can be very confusing sometimes. So it's important to get to know what your best options are out there when you're comparing and looking into this. So living here in New England and down here by the bridges near the ocean, we've got a lot of wind. A lot of people ask, well, do they blow off the house? No, the panels don't blow off the house. They're rated for 140 mile an hour winds. In the event that a panel ever did blow off the house, you're completely covered. With Solar City, we have a 100% warranty against your personal property if our panels or our system damages your home. So for 20 years, we have a great protection against any damage from that. A lot of people ask me about snow removal. I tell folks that you have that warranty and you're covered against any damage that's not caused by you, whether it's accidental or purposeful. So you want to be careful. I let people know that panels are going to help melt the snow a lot faster off of your roof than snow or ice on a regular shingled roof. And you'll find that the snow just simply slides right off the panels, similar to the way the sun hits a glass window on your car and quickly can melt off the ice and snow off your car. Same thing's going to happen with your panels. The panels are pretty durable, but you don't want to risk ruining a full warranty trying to scrape ice or snow off of your system, particularly in the least productive months of the year, which are December, January, February. Those are the coldest, those are the shortest days of the year. Let it be. It's all going to come out when you hit right now and turning your system on or getting it up and running again in March through the summer. You're going to make up for that lost production from the winter with the great amount of sun that we have here in New England in the summertime. We do run into the occasional storm. I'm sure many of you are aware we can lose power from the power lines, and when the power goes down, your system is automatically going to go down. Each of these home residential solar systems are grid-tied systems, so you're putting power back onto the lines when those systems are up and running. So if the grid goes down and you've got guys working on the power lines, they can't have residential solar systems providing power back to the lines because that could shock the guys. A lot of my customers have backup generators for their homes. It's totally fine to use a generator on your home. When we tie a system into a home and there's a generator present, we have to isolate the system from the generator. Similar to when somebody will go to install a new generator that has a system, that generator will have to be isolated from the system so that there's no chance that anybody's going to be shocked from putting power back onto the lines. That's really important that people understand. You're not necessarily powering your home with solar panels when the power goes down. There are storage options for power that are becoming more readily available, and the cost is coming down and that technology is improving. Be sure and ask us about the battery technology that's available and what's happening with that technology. But for right now, most systems on homes are just grid tied. There's no storage capabilities, and you're putting all of your excess power back onto the grid. And now I'll talk a little bit about that excess power. The exchange of power from your system to the grid and you getting credit for that power is called net metering. And the utility company, and we're going to show you a shot of the meter again here, but the utility company replaces your old electrical meter and puts a meter on your house that allows power to go out to the grid and allows power to come in from the grid. So you're never not going to be without power unless the power grid goes down and you don't have battery backup capability. But at night, you're drawing from the grid. And it's kind of like an ATM analogy that I use with people. When you put money into a bank, you can go and draw money out of the bank that you put in there. Similar with power and net metering from a system, you're going to put extra power onto the grid and you're going to be able to draw against those credits that you put on there. And that's a simplified version of net metering. Solar City does a great job of helping all of our customers set up that agreement with the utility company to make sure that you're completely taken care of and that all of your net metering credits are applied right to your account directly. The months from March through October is even a really good production month. You're building up credit and you're constantly going up and down with your production and your usage, and you're monitoring that. And we provide people with monitoring capabilities so that you can take out your smartphone or your laptop computer or your desktop computer at home and see and get a sense of how much power you're using versus how much power you're producing. So we'll talk a little bit now about the leasing options and getting into a lease and making that commitment. It is a 20-year commitment, and that's typical of pretty much every company out there who is providing these leasing options. You're making a commitment to solar power, and we want people to feel like that's a good thing. I ask people what their contract is with their utility companies, and people kind of say, well, I don't necessarily have a contract with the utility company. However, you have to buy your electricity from the utility company. You don't have a choice of who's going to deliver your power. You may be able to choose who your generation supply company is, but you have to have your power delivered from the utility company. The utility companies have had a monopoly over this business and this industry for hundreds of years here. We are changing the way people are thinking about where they can get their power and how affordable it is. The leasing options, the zero money down leasing options, are committing people to 20 years of buying their power through a company like Solar City that is giving you a system at no cost and giving you that ability to harness the sun's energy. The process of getting interested in solar and taking a look and starting to compare your options and making that step and commitment to doing it and what that process looks like. It starts with a free consultation and sitting down and having a conversation with someone like myself over a cup of coffee about what you're using for power, understanding your utility bill and learning a little bit about what you're charged for from the utility company currently, and going over the options that are available through Solar City or through the leasing or power purchase agreement options. Once you get an understanding of how net metering works and what your benefits are, it's then making a decision and continuing to move forward. And if it's something you're going to benefit from, you continue and you get a site survey done where someone will come out to your house, take measurements of your roof, take a look in your attic at your rafters and spacing. We want to make sure that structurally every home that we're putting panels on is going to be able to hold the weight of these panels in addition to snow and wind load. So we're 110% sure that every home we're putting panels on is going to be able to hold the weight of these panels. We don't want any customers being in a situation where they're looking at a roof sagging from having put panels on their roof. So we ensure that that's not going to be an issue. Once the survey's done, we then take that information collected from the survey and we provide our engineers with all of their required information in order to make those calculations about the structure integrity of a house, and taking a look at an azimuth reading, which is reading the angle and direction that the sun is, factoring in the winter height of the sun and the summer height of the sun to make sure we're accurately projecting what we think your roof has the capability of as far as collecting that energy and turning it into power for your home. Once we have a final design and final numbers put together, we sit back down with our customers and go over that design and make sure that everybody's comfortable. If there's any questions about the design and we need to go over anything, now's the time to do that, to work with our engineers, and we can make changes if necessary. After we've signed a final agreement to move forward and we're okay with the design, that's when my job really starts, and Solar City starts pulling permits with the town. We start working with the utility company and lining up documents with the utility company, and we get that process started. From the time from the consultation to getting the panels actually installed on your home can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer. Depends on holdups or changes in a design. Not everybody is going to move at the same pace all the time because there are different questions and you run into different things. This is a construction project. We're doing construction on a home, so there are some things that we can't foresee that we're going to run into. Although we do our best to estimate what those things are going to be that we're going to come up against. When we get the system installed, and a system like this is probably going to take about a half a day, less than half a day to install. Our crews work very efficiently to get into a home. They know that they're ready to install, and we have licensed electricians on every one of our crews that are making sure everything is set up safely so that we're prepared to turn the system on. However, we're not turning the system on the day we install it. There's a waiting period between your installation date until we have permission from the utility company to turn your system on. And that requires making sure that all building permits and inspections have been completed properly, and that all documentation with the utility company has been taken care of, and that the utility company has had their chance to review this process and make sure that we're good to go and we can turn the system on. From start to finish, it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And although we're trying to get people's systems up and installed as quickly as possible, it doesn't always happen as quickly as we'd like it. We just have to be patient with this process. Everybody goes through it, and everybody has to deal with certain things that pop up. And we do a great job of being able to manage that and help our customers by setting the expectation up front that it's not going to be immediately, it's going to take some time. So most people have questions about how long the lease is and what's it going to cost and what am I going to save? Is my roof going to be able to work? When somebody's interested and they get in touch with me to be able to talk about that interest, I bring up their address using Google Maps and using a satellite image, and I can generally get a good picture of whether or not I think they have an opportunity. And I'll go down and sit down with them at the house, again, take a look at the utility bill and talk with them about their options and take a conservative look at what I think they're going to be able to generate and save for power and money. From there, then we take the next steps forward if they feel that it's going to be beneficial to them. You're up. You're on and up and running right now. It currently says you have 10 of 10 panels on and producing, which is great and exciting. And we'll go in and we can take a look at your computer and see the usage information and production information on there. One thing I did want to talk about and point out is the special meter that has been installed and replaced by the utility company. You'll notice a red sticker on the meter that says net meter. And again, that is a special meter that allows power to go out to the lines and power to come off the lines for the home. And it tracks that give and take of power from your home to the grid. You're producing around 1,300 watts right now, and your home is using about 240 watts of power right now. So you're putting power back onto the grid right now, depositing power into the power bank. At night, you'll be drawing against those credits that you built up. And so it's a give and take. At the end of the month, because we do our billing cycle on a monthly basis, and so does the utility company, if at the end of the month you're left over with credit, that credit carries over to the next month. Maybe I can explain a little bit more about that. If you have a month where you use 600 kilowatt hours of power and your system produces 800 kilowatt hours of power, you're going to get a utility bill from the electric company showing you the credit for that extra power that you put back onto the grid. That means your system for that particular month provided you with enough power that you were able to build up credit with the utility company and offset your cost. So therefore, you're not paying the utility company that month. You're only paying yourself back if you've purchased the system, or you're buying your power from a company like Solar City if you've gone with a lease or a power purchase agreement option. And that's how the net metering works with the utility company. They're buying your power back and crediting your account with any overage that you produce on a monthly basis. And you build up that credit until you get to a month where your system produces 500 kilowatt hours of power, but you used 800 kilowatt hours of power. You have to pay for the difference to the utility company of what they're providing you over and above what your system has produced. But they're going to draw from your credit that you built up with them first before they're going to bill you. So that's another way. The net metering is a great advantage to people, whether you're purchasing or leasing, to really help offset your costs and get more control over your electricity costs. This is called Power Guide, and this gives us and our customers the ability to monitor both the usage and the solar production in the home. And right now, as we're taking a look at this, the house is using roughly 820, or excuse me, the solar system is producing roughly 820 watts, and the home is using 300 watts. So we're banking credit right now with the utility company that we'll draw against when the system and production and usage switch. I'll show you another example of being able to monitor your daily usage and production. If you can see on the graph here, the red indicates the power usage in the home throughout the day and the hours of the day, and the green indicates the solar production. So wherever the green is above the red at that particular time, you're producing more power than you're using, building up that credit. I'll go back and take a look at yesterday's power production, and you can see later on in the day when the sun goes down and the system's no longer producing, and when we get home from work and our kids come home and turn on every light in the house and we're using all of our power, we're drawing against whatever credit we built up. As it turns out, this is my system. Yesterday I produced roughly 18 kilowatt hours of power, and I consumed roughly 13.6 kilowatt hours of power. So on the monthly, on the month for a whole, you can see the first of the month, and today's the 7th. I have a few days that are overproducing and a couple of days that are underproducing. I can see right here that I've produced roughly 120 kilowatt hours of power, and I've consumed roughly 77 kilowatt hours of power.